started. So let's get our clock, watch, go ahead and start the clock. We're gonna be starting off with a lizard to a hamstring stretch. So I'll show kind of like from a parallel position. We're gonna push our hips forward, back toes can be tucked or untucked. Then I'm gonna push my hips back, trying to sit down slightly, keep that leg nice and straight. I can have a slight bend in the knee as I go back, but we're moving through this dynamically. So push forward, hold for a couple seconds, and then push back. Think of straightening that leg as much as possible. Hands are on the inside of my legs. I love doing dynamic mobility as it allows you to move through the range of motion, getting into a deeper pose or position if possible, but you're constantly flowing through those two stretches. Entropy may join at one point or another, but not sure yet. Entropy, come here. So we're moving through this dynamically for 1 minute. We're gonna do 1 minute on the left, and we're gonna switch 1 minute on the right. I have found mobility to be such a saving grace for myself in terms of my hips, my back, my body. When I first found CrossFit, I did a little bit of stretching, a little bit of running. Good, let's switch. Opposite leg, same thing, knee over the ankle, then I'm gonna push my hips forward, and then I'm gonna push my hips back, working the opposite side. So when I first found CrossFit, I used to do a lot of running beforehand, and one of my friends that I connected with, she was a massage therapist and also a firefighter, and she told me my hamstrings and calves were ridiculously tight from all the running, so I started stretching, incorporating some extra movements into my routine, and then I became the girl who always did mobility. But I think that was a huge saving grace for myself in terms of all my competitive years that I did for competition. Mobility was more of a preventative factor, so I think stretching, flexibility, mobility is huge for longevity, but also huge for getting outside the gym. So whatever you're doing in the gym should help you outside the gym, whether that's hiking, camping, riding your motorcycles, riding your bikes, different types of bikes, but being flexible and agile is huge. So highly recommend you guys incorporating mobility into your lifestyle. Cool, next one we're gonna come, feet underneath our shoulders, so think of a squat stance position. So I'll adjust this so you guys can see a little bit more from the lower position. So I wanna think of feet underneath my shoulders. We're doing a minute here. I'm going to push my knees out with my elbows, then I'm gonna grab my toes, and I'm going to lift my hips, pull my torso to my thighs, hold for a couple seconds, and then we're gonna drop back down, push the knees out. So from the side, I'm really focusing on trying to flatten my back as I push my knees out, and then lift my hips, trying to collapse my chest to my thighs. Now, if you can't get full range of motion, that's okay. If you're up here, I just want you to get as low as you can, then lift the hips and collapse as much as you can. If you need to bend the knees so your torso touches your thighs, that's totally fine. Just feel over time, eventually just straighten the legs. So bend, drive the knees out, chest nice and tall. Using your triceps to push the knees out is gonna help you a lot. Go about another second. And then we're gonna come back down to the squat. Now we're gonna do a squat with a reach. So from the kind of side angle, my arm's gonna come forward. I'm gonna twist left arm to the sky, hold for a second or two, then I'm gonna come back down and I'm gonna rotate. So this is gonna help you get comfortable in the bottom of the squat. If you're new to squatting or new to getting this full range of motion, that's okay, be slow and steady. You can always use a heavy object like a kettlebell or a dumbbell to hold on to. If your chest is facing down to the ground because your butt's up, that's okay. I want you to still try to get that same range of motion with those arms as much as you can. Getting comfortable at the bottom of the squat will take time, but once you work on that position, it will eventually come. So be patient with the process. It is sometimes a longer process than you want, but you will get there. Good, about another 10 more seconds here. This is gonna warm up our hips, our ankles, our calves, a little bit of upper body, as well as the spine for twisting and rotating. You can use this as part of your warm up or just for your getting blood flow for your body. Good, from here, we're gonna get into a nice wide stance. We're gonna do some Cossack lunges. I'm gonna face you guys so you can see. Feet are about parallel distance positioning, so facing each other, toes pointed forward. I'm gonna sit back and down. I twist my toes out slightly. I'm gonna get as low as I can here. Then I'm gonna stand up, straighten the legs, switch over to the other side. If you can't get this low, then you can stay elevated where your hip crease is above or at the knee, moving over. But I'd like you to stay relatively low versus standing all the way up. So I'm pushing my hips over to the side and then switching. I can also bring my hands to the floor and I can assist myself to go over to the other side And then as I straighten my legs, come back. Now, if your toes turned out slightly, that's fine. What I want you to try to avoid is knee collapsing inside the toes. So if your toes turn out, try to push the knee out as well. This is gonna work hips, adductors, which is your inner thighs as well as get a little bit of that rotation in. Good. So from here, we're gonna come down to a plank position. We're gonna do a last minute. In this plank position, hands underneath the shoulders. You can be on your toes. You can always modify by going to your knees as well. We're gonna go from a plank. We're gonna push our hips up to downward facing dog. So I'm pushing my head through my arms, reaching. Then I'm gonna drop my knees, push my butt back to a child's pose. Think of bringing my forehead and chin to the floor. Then it'll come back up to that tabletop, plank, and then downward facing dog. So this is gonna open up our hamstrings, our back, our upper back, our calves. Then as I come to that plank and then downward facing dog, I'm gonna open up a little more my shoulders and lats. So we're not gonna get as many repetitions here, but the intention is to open those legs, arms, upper body as much as we can. I love the child's pose for our upper body. That allows you to relax a little bit as you get a little bit of stretch. Notice that I kind of come from side to side. We're actually gonna do this for 2 minutes here. So we have 1 minute in, 1 more minute to go. So pushing your head through, don't let that be a deterrent. Let that be a motivator that it takes time to increase your range of motion. But self-care, mobility, stretching is just like brushing your teeth. You should do a little bit of it every single day, and it will add up over time. Good, we have another 20 seconds. Good, leaning, rocking side to side. Open up those arms a little more. Again, if you can't get into the downward facing dog, you can just walk those arms forward. Push the armpits to the floor like a puppy dog, then bring those hands back and then sit to child's pose. That's another scaling option or modification for that movement. So that wraps up today's dynamic mobility. This was about 7 minutes of work. A little bit quicker, we moved through it. It wasn't a static stretch like we did before, but it's important to change up your training and your mobility as well. If you guys love this video and you want more, if you're looking for more mobility, if you want to look about losing fat, gaining some muscle, or building some lean muscle tissue, you can check out my app. It's $1 for the first 30 days. I have a CrossFit high intensity program in there that will help you. I also have a mobility program that can help you as well, where I include and share lots of other exercises that you can add in. So if you guys love this video, make sure you comment below, let me know what you want to see more of, and I will use that for next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.